doesn't it?
Because it did hit home with me, and I just want to at least throw this out there. The idea of before and after school care.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Should a building be closed and or how we would accommodate? Would we add to the number of?
I have this conversation with Mrs. Fiorello often. Remember, the program we use is the Town of Smithtown Child Care Program. It's not the Smithtown School District Child Care Program, it's the Town of Smithtown. She has certain very strict guidelines that she needs to follow. What she needs from us is room. We can give her the room. What she needs is enough enrollment to make it economically feasible for her to do it. Okay? She has said that she would work with us and she would increase the numbers if they warranted it. So I'm sure that if we close one building and move more children in, we would reach those numbers where she needed to open another program. What I would say to the board is if she can't produce that, then we have to look at what the demand and the need is from our folks and say, well, do we want to run two programs? Do we want to maintain our relationship with the Town of Smithtown, which has provided service here for very many years, and we were very happy with it. But if they can't expand, well, do we want to open up then a SCOPE program? Because SCOPE runs before and after care in many, many districts. And I've spoken to George Dempsey, he's in charge of it, and he said, I'll run another program. That's fine with me. You know, so I think that we could meet that need and have two programs going at once if we needed to. But if the numbers increase that much, Mrs. Fiorello would expand the program. She's assured me of that. So it's a simple matter of numbers and space. So the numbers are there, she'll increase the program.
So I just have a couple of quick questions, because these questions came up. How will the school start time committee, their findings impact whether we close the school or not?
Yeah.
Jen, chairs that.
Yeah, I chair the committee. I don't anticipate that there would be any impact on whether or not we would close a school. When the schools, if we change school start times, that might change busing times, but that would be whether we have 7 or 8 elementary
The follow-up
schools.
question, say if we were 7 elementary schools, would we still, if we push start time, would we still go to a staggered, or would you envision going to a staggered early and late elementary?
The committee is looking at all of those things and the potential cost impacts of all of those things. Staggering is the way to do it most cost efficiently.
Okay. Next question is, under any of the scenarios that we're seeing, do we anticipate adding an assistant principal at the elementary level if we did chose to close a elementary building?
It would depend on the enrollment. The magic number is 650, in my professional opinion. If we approach 650, it would most likely would be in scenario 5, where we're moving, or if we close the Smithtown L scenario, we move students back into a comp set. So we might need to add an assistant principal at a comp set, depending on the selection.
Okay, and that's the new scenario that we're.
Well, that and also option 5. In option 5, we pretty much move children throughout the district.
Okay. Without going into too many confidential pieces of negotiation, the question has come up, are we getting concessions from our bargaining units that are, to look elsewhere for savings?
What we've done is we have the collective bargaining agreements that we've set up with CSEA, with guards, in our conversations with the nurses. Everyone has been very receptive and understands the revenue expense flow. So we have gotten significant salary concessions from those two units that we've settled with. We've had very positive conversations towards that end with the nurses. That unit is, we're in final stage, so we hope to have that to you, and I think you'll be very pleased with that. We are in negotiations with our largest bargaining unit, teachers, where we have made a very strong request and stance on the fact that we need some significant change to this current salary schedule. But that's items of negotiation, so I really can't talk too much about it.
No, fair enough. We're just to ensure that we are headed down a path with all of our units that life in the 2% tax cap really creates a revenue and expense calculation that we need to stay with.
Yes.
And continue.
We've had that, and we've had success, and we hope to continue to have success that way.
I had a lot of questions you answered. One of the things that came up, and if you want to talk to, is the community's become aware that we contract with a public relations firm, and they see that as an excess. Would you like to explain what the PR firm is doing for us and who was previously in her responsibilities?
Right. There were previously 2 additional administrators in the central office. Those folks were accessed or retired around 2011 or so, 2010, 2011. One of those, one of her job, the majority of her job was the public relations for the district. She retired in 2011. She made $105,000 plus benefits. We currently contract with Syntax. The other responsibilities for the other 2 from that administrator that had in addition to that, and from the others, they've all been doled out through our offices. So she retired 150 plus Bennings, so you figure.
Oh, you said 105.
I'm sorry, 105 plus Bennings, so you add to that. We contracted with Syntax, which is funded through Eastern Suffolk BOCES on a cross contract, so we get 8 on that. So the net cost for that is $51,000.
What do they do for us?
They provide public relations, they do the budget digest, they work with our calendar, they redo our website, they maintain our website. We no longer pay for our website. We previously had paid for the website.
$25,000 for the website and the app.
So we no longer have that expense. So the website was redeveloped and is maintained for free. They do all the website upkeep for us. They're working on all those glitches that happen.
Excuse me, Chris, the 105 was 2011. That probably would be a different figure today, am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So so there's a net save there. We're not paying for other.
For the web service. Yeah, no, it's.
And the one note I wrote down is they are actively getting out the good story.
Yes, they are.
And where they help us is to diffuse bad stories.
Correct. Mhm.
So, it's a net save, so just to
Right.
educate the community on that. Anyone else have any questions?
I just have one. You brought up option 5, and I can't leave the table without bringing this to your attention for consideration. If there is a day when we are sitting at this table discussing a second closing of an elementary school, and I hope that isn't the case, but it has been suggested that it might. On looking at all of the scenarios, to me, option 5 maintains the most logical boundary lines.
Mhm.
I've suggested to you and to the other board members that we consider, if we do have to close another elementary school, and we anticipate we might, that those boundary lines are the ones we should follow. Reconfiguring the closing of one elementary school and delaying the closing of the other one, so that we're not sitting in this place drawing new lines 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years from now. So I just have to say that I hope we consider that, so that any board is not, and any superintendent, any administration is not looking to reconfigure the boundary lines when those have been established for the closing of 2 schools.
Right. Well, I think depending on the decision that the board comes to, we could certainly lay out that scenario. I mean, option 5 does redistrict, the vast majority of us. I think the initial number was we're moving 1,500 students, I think, at that point in time, just on the elementary level. So I do think that what we would have to really look at is the maintenance of that east-west boundary. I know there was some concern about in option 5 was taking 16% or so out of Mills Pond that had previously gone to Wisconsin and now sending those folks to Tacking, and folks on the board had said, no, don't do that. don't do that. So if we didn't do, so if you go with option 5 and you want me to change that, we would have to really seriously consider in that scenario, perhaps in that shift, perhaps if Dogwood did close, not all of Dogwood going to, say, St. James as is proposed in Mills Pond, but a portion then, rather than perhaps then coming to the west side. And depending on what school is left open, where that would be. So I really need to know which shoe drops, before we do that on the west side. Are there any questions more?
I'm just gonna make one last statement, and I'll turn over to anyone. You know, the board has a lot to contemplate ahead of us. I think the community already knows, but, you know, I'll let the cat back. There are three of us. Mrs. Blord, Mrs. Waldron, and myself that have ties to Branchburg. Myself probably being the one that had the last student among us that was there. She moved up last year. We get it. It's a vibrant building, as well as 7 other buildings. We understand the emotion of the decision. I was a parent on the other side of it in 2011, and I understand where you guys are at. There's a lot for us to contemplate. We've heard your voice. You know, we have a lot to think about. But as Mrs. Knox said, it is, you know, it's not so much the bricks and mortars of where the program is housed. You know, it's the instructional program that spans all of our buildings. So we do have a lot to think about. I thank you all for, you know, answering all of our questions and being so prepared. But there is a lot of work ahead of us.